Hi, I'm Erin Cunningham,
Hi, I'm Luke Hawkins.
and today we're going to talk to you about racial discrimination within the hiring process. You're probably wondering what racial discrimination is and where it comes from. Race is defined as a group of people sharing the same culture, history, or language. Within the hiring process, the race studied and proven to be most prominently discriminated against is African American. For example, in a study conducted in 2014, African American candidates were 16% less likely to get called back for an interview than Caucasian applicants. Many companies discriminate because they are concerned with how their company will be viewed or judged by consumers or competitors having a non-white individual work for their company. This can also be referred to as racial discrimination. Racial discrimination is treating someone unfavorably because he or she is of a certain race or because of a personal characteristic associated with their race, such as hair, skin color, or certain facial features. Discrimination stems from racism and prejudice. Racism is prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race because of a belief that one's own race is superior. Prejudice is preconceived opinion that is not based on a reason or actual experience. A study revealed that extent of discrimination against African American job applicants has not changed since 1990. This is very disconcerting for many African Americans today.
Now that we've discussed the definition of racial discrimination, we can see where it came from and why it's relevant in businesses today. First, racial discrimination became irrelevant due to the historical events imposed upon Black Americans in history. These major events include the start of America, where slavery was present. Here, whites found themselves to be the superior race. Segregation soon after followed, as blacks started to gain rights, but we still see oppression due to the color of their skin. Still to this day, due to these historical events, we have seen an ongoing mistreatment of blacks in American society purely because of their skin color. Black Americans can't get hired based on the prior stereotypes unwillingly bestowed upon them by most whites who are against the equal treatment of different races. These ideas that they have include seeing applicants as underperformers of white applicants. They find that blacks don't have the necessary skills to perform in that job. It's also not willing to change the way of thinking. They're living in the past where segregation was prominent, and now that it's gone, they still can't get past their racial bias. Also, it's hard to see in big companies when HR and hiring people can't understand that they would perform just as well as any other applicant, no matter their skin color. Now, we'll go in and talk to James and Nick about organizing business side of the topic. I messed up. It's still recording.
That's fine. So we'll just
Pretty sure I cussed on that too.
It's okay. We'll stop.
Hi, I'm James Cleland.
And I'm Nick Van Valkenburg.
So to start off, discrimination is bad in the workplace because it ruins the reputation of a company. When employees experience more and more discrimination in the workplace, the turnover for employees is much lower because the employees lose their satisfaction and their motivation with the work itself. One way to combat this is with whistleblowing. This is when employees expose illegal actions within the company. This relates to discrimination, as Title VII states that discrimination is illegal no matter how you do it.
Racial discrimination is bad for society at the very core. When individuals are hired based on what color their skin is rather than what actually qualifies them to do the job at hand, it creates an environment that is absolutely toxic towards allowing them to, as James said, get intrinsic satisfaction from their job or be evaluated in their actual job performance. Unfortunately, it still happens today to the point where it's relevant enough that this talk even needs to happen. In fact, one study conducted in 2006 suggested that of 100 resumes submitted to a company for employment, about 60 of them said the applicants were white. However, none of the qualifications listed were any different. They were all the same, if not identical. Those with whiter sounding names were more likely to get the job based on the results of the study. When asked about what company it was that the study was actually conducted over, the organization provided simply said a major one, implying it can be any domestic major company from a banking firm, financial institution, something of that nature. So what we know is that in high society, this still happens. People are looked at on their skin first in the hiring process rather than the actual job that they're qualified to do, which is a very unfortunate reality, and it's bad nonetheless. We believe that simply by talking about it will raise awareness for the issue and hopefully go on to stop it in the future. To talk about how we can combat this issue going forward, we have Ian to talk about what we can do next.
Hello, I'm Ian Langendorfer, and to conclude racial discrimination, it is very important that we try to stray away from the unnecessary actions dictated on race. Companies lose a lot of respect and also potentially great working citizens because of their personal opinions on the color of someone's skin, or their figures that they're unable to change. There has been legal measures taken, such as the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is a federal law that prohibits employees from discriminating against employers with 15 or more employees. Also, there are ways to get around it in the hiring process. First, some companies use blind hiring techniques and remove specific identifying information, like the candidates' names and their education background. Lastly, they conduct anonymous interviews by using chat rooms with voice masking technology.